Hello, it's David. Now, thanks to a very generous chap on Twitter who was giving away some Atari gear from house clearance, I've come into possession of this Mega ST4. This used to belong to a chap called Francis Monkmon, who was, for any progressive rock fans out there, he was a founding member of Curved Air and later went on to appear in Sky and various other progressive rock bands of the sort of late 60s, 70s era. And he was a very accomplished musician and organist. An amazing wealth of things at his house there, but some of those included some Atari gear which he used for his music making. And this is what I've come away with, and as you can see, it's in a really pretty grimy condition. Keyboard is particularly mucky there, perhaps not as bad as the mouse. I think the mouse there may require a complete soak, but hopefully we'll be able to clean this up, get this working, and this will be an excellent test bed, I hope, for some of the hardware projects that I should like to work on. So I don't think the first thing we should do is to plug this in and turn it on. I think the first thing we should do is to take it open and have an inspection. But what we probably ought to do is to actually test it before we start scrubbing things, just in case I break something and want to make sure that I don't introduce a fault that I don't know about. So let's, I think the keyboard can probably wait for now, but let's open up the main unit here and see what we're dealing with, and have a look at that power supply first and foremost. So before we even start taking any screws off, let's have a look under the battery compartment here. The Mega STs came with a real-time clock and they were battery backed. And we have some old cells in here. Now, I'm not seeing any green muck, so it's possible that these, I mean, they clearly won't be in very good condition, but it's possible that these are old style dry cells, so we may be lucky with battery leakage. Let's prize one out and have a look. I can see rust there. Yeah, that's not very pretty. But the spring clips don't look too terrible. Oh, there's some liquid there, I think. That one. Yeah, there's some liquid on my fingers there. There we go, look, I can see some kind of nasty liquid in there. I think first port of call is I'm going to mop that up with just a dry cloth, I think, first. Now, I'm not 100% sure whether these three screws need to be undone as well. I suspect they may be for the floppy, so I'm going to just try and take that off with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 screws removed. I wonder if there's one in the middle there. There's a warranty sticker. 29th of March 1993. The warranty sticker on this, and this was Analogic Computers Limited, Kingston upon Thames, just up the road from me. Now, I've never done this before. I imagine that I've got to be a little bit careful of the floppy eject button here. I can feel the back is off, but not much movement at the front. And it may be because of that, those 3 screws. Let's remove those screws just to be safe. If the floppy is loose, I don't think it's the end of the world, unless it falls out and smashes. Now the The Mega ST series was sort of like targeted at the professional market, but they were pretty much identical to the wedge-shaped STs that you'd see, the STFMs, the original FSTs, other than they incorporated that real-time clock, and I believe there is an expansion port of sorts in here. The keyboard, on the other hand, was supposed to be excellent, so I can hear the clicks actually do seem very professional, but that's in such a state I shan't be indulging my keyboard fetish on that just for the moment. I wonder if there's another screw behind that analogic. Behind that analogic computers label, I think there may very well be. Hello to all my Kingston upon Thames viewers. Sneaky. There we go, I think that was it. Oh, it's a little bit tricky around that floppy disk. Do not want to damage anything. Oh, something's attached, maybe as a speaker. No, that's the batteries, there we go. There we go. And that's what the inside looks like. That is pretty dusty. So this is the inside of a Mega ST. Huge amount of shielding. Looks like we've got a single screw there and the infamous Atari twist tabs. This one is a shorter. Oh, there's another screw there. Another little screw hiding away down here. And we're going to need a small pair of pliers for those twist tabs. It goes underneath the floppy here, so we need to try and coax it out of there. Oh yeah, the floppy's all loose, so I've taken out too many screws. Thought I might have done. And that little cable penetrator there. I don't know how to disconnect that. Ah, it's a pinchy. I think it should pinch out. Yeah, there we go. Okay. And the inside of the, obviously here the power supply, there's a little bit of dust, but the inside of the shielding is actually not too terrible at all. Don't think there's a fan in here. That's a DSP. Well, this is my first look inside here, and we've got ourselves a bit of a surprise. That is a 56,000 DSP of the type you found in the Falcon. Now that is interesting. So that's an expansion board that I was unaware of. And it plugs in, this is what I was saying earlier on, that the Mega ST did have an expansion socket. It plugs into the expansion socket. There's a little power connector coming off there. That's intriguing. That makes it even more interesting. And yeah, I didn't really inspect the back. Here you've got your MIDI ports, the monitor, the floppy. This is all the same as on the stock ST series. You've got a ACSI hard disk port there. We've got a serial modem port here. We've got a parallel printer port here. Main IEC connection input, obviously. And this is a Brucey bonus, isn't it? I need to do some research on that. it appears that we've got a DSP board. What could a DSP board do? All these chips are super clean. These are all absolutely spotless. I know it sits away. Well, no, the power supply is right here. This is incredibly clean. Was this installed and never used? Well, we've got some research to do here. There's also this little piggyback board on top of the main processor here. This is a 7.4. I can't really read that. It's come across on the camera. It's a bit of 7.4 series logic. 7.4 LS74. What's that? Is that an inverter? I think I've seen these before. This looks like it's drawing something from here and connecting into the chip. This might be a... I think I've seen this somewhere before, that this is like a blitter delay fix or something like that. Again, it's something else we need to look up. This is an Atari sound accelerator. DigiDesign, 1990, made in the USA. 2-chip TOS installation. That's pretty normal for the later era machines. Those look like the ACIAs. Potentially, what's that down there? That's possibly the main glue chip, is it? With the perhaps the MMU hidden over here. I'm not 100% sure. There may be a different type of shifter in here as well. We have a peek under the floppy. Okay, there's the main system RAM. And I think we probably ought to have that power supply out. Okay, so here is a Mega ST power supply. Built-in fan. I didn't see that before, so explains some of the dust. Still not on that sound expansion. And to be honest, or maybe that one's a little bit, that one looks a little bit bulgy. There's not too much obvious signs of capacitor leakage or bulging, but I think the prudent thing to do would be to test this one out, or maybe even I'll borrow one of my, that might be the best bet, I don't know. Let me borrow one of my cables from another machine to power this board externally to start with. Okay, so this is the 7-pin DIN to ST power connector adapter that I made in a previous video, which I've borrowed off my STE, which is poorly at the moment. So we'll use this with an external power supply just to rule out any problems with that old unit there. I brought in my multimeter to do some voltage testing, and I've noticed that this is actually sitting, the expansion here is actually sitting quite loosely. This doesn't appear to be particularly tightly in the board here, so I think what I might do is just lift it out if it comes. Yeah, there we go. So that's the board. Oh, little screw fell out. Yeah, I'll have to do some research on that. Never heard of that. But anyway, let's take that out so that we're not muddying the waters there. I think it's an earthing screw. That looks like it's a relatively late fitting then, doesn't it? Ah, maybe that was through the power supply. I might have missed that. Perhaps that went through the PSU. No, but then why would the screw be there? Don't know. That looks like a grounding strap anyway. Okay, so I'm putting my power connector in there. And this is one of the external PSUs I built in that previous video with the 9-pin DIN output on it. So let's get that plugged in there. And that uses a modern Meanwell power supply in there, that one. I've got a second one out in the shed that has an Exos power supply in it. Both very reliable units. We should deliver some decent power here. and you'll have to excuse the audio quality because I'm using the built-in mic. Okay, and fingers crossed, here we go. Okay, 5 volts, that's positive. No signal on the monitor. I felt the floppy disk go though. Check the 12 volt line. This Exos VGA adapter requires 12 volts in order to work. Yeah, we've got 12 volts going in. That sounds like it's booted up though. Ah! Ha ha! And just like that, the battery died. Okay, so it turned out just to be a loose connection in the telly. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to gently move that expansion out of the way. Pop over there on the MacBook. I don't think we'll be using that mouse, but let's bring the keyboard into play and we can give this a quick test and see whether we can get any life, any interaction out of it. So the keyboard goes into there, and I've got my multi-diagnostic cartridge here. So let's set this up for a an ST. These are available on the Exos store. So here we go, ST. So it's to the right, those ones. Yep, that one to the left. Okay, I just need to move that across to the left. And then this one on the center tap. So yep, there we go, that should be fine. Let's get that in. So the cartridge goes in with the chip facing upwards. We'll just gently pop that in there. And here we go. Let's throw the switch and see what we get. Green light on the keyboard, I can see straight away. We've got this blue light on the screen. And not a lot else. Invalid format. Okay. These cartridge sockets, if they haven't been used for a long time, they can have slightly dodgy contacts. Let's just take that out and see if we can boot up with TOS again. Okay, I've got the floppy light there. Now this is probably TOS 1.4, so it does take a long time to boot up without a floppy in the drive. I would be reluctant to put any floppy I care about in there until we've had a chance to look at that. So I think we'll just wait the 30-40 seconds it takes to get to the desktop. Okay, brilliant. We've got to the desktop. Should be able to manipulate the mouse with the keyboard. Okay, that's... Whoa. I suspect the keyboard is a bit crusty there. Yeah, that's not looking too hot. Not all the direction arrows work properly. And there we go, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89. I think that is TOS 1.04. So that's good. That's the latest version that's shipped with these boards. So I think we might have quite a late revision here. Let's get the contact cleaner on that cartridge and on the socket, and we'll see if we can get the diagnostic to boot. So I'm just using this WD-40 contact cleaner here. Shouldn't need to spray it directly into the socket because this should transfer, and I'll just wiggle it gently in and out a couple of times. Sometimes it helps not to put it all the way in, but just a little tiny bit out. Not sure why, but perhaps just exposes a slightly different point of contact on the cartridge itself. Okay, let's try that again. Throw the switch. We've got the blue light, we've got the green power. There's nothing on the floppy, but that's normal, I think, for the cartridge. There we go. Just a loose connection. Great. So we've got a Mega ST. Oh, Mega and ST. Okay, so it doesn't identify that. 4 megabytes of RAM. Keyboard revision 2. 60 Hertz. Okay. Version 1.4 UK PAL. Okay, so TOS 1.4. So normally it would be normally 71 Hertz actually if it's a mono monitor. Yeah, don't quite understand that. Anyway, so these are the tests that we can do. Let's do the high resolution test. Yeah, the keyboard's a bit sticky. I don't know how long it goes on for, we'll interrupt that. Okay, so that's good. So run all internal tests is Z. Yeah. I don't actually know the best way to clean this keyboard. If I had to, I'll have to do some research onto that. Okay, we've got a RAM failure. Bad bits, 9, 11, 13, 15. Okay, let's try and do a sound test, but we've got no speaker plugged in. Bad bits 9, 11, 13 and 15. We'll have to get the yet another Atari RAM test TT on this. Right, so Z test completed after one cycle, and we had a problem on 4 RAM chips. Okay, let's do the actual RAM test by itself. That's interesting, it passed that time. I'll run all the internals again. So potentially we've got an intermittent RAM issue. So I reconfigured the cartridge to run the yet another Atari RAM tester program, the ST version actually, not the TT version, because this can also test the screen memory. And yeah, here we go. Look, 9 passes. Well, it's on pass 9, so 8 passes, no errors. So that's a little bit strange. Maybe that was again just a little bit of a squiffy connection on the cartridge there. Okay, so I couldn't resist doing a little bit more testing. I've got my external Gotek hooked up here. I've put my smallier mouse to USB dongle in there so that the mouse works, and I've found an old cover disc that I don't care about, so I don't think there was anything terrible on there, so anything on there of value. So we're going to put that in the drive there, and we'll see if we can format it. So double-sided. The keyboard is getting slightly better, so I think potentially it was just a bit grimy. I might spray some of my contact cleaner into any sticky keys, and we'll see how we go. Okay, well, the drive did not sound very happy at all there, but it has come up that it's got 720K. That did sound pretty terrible. Not surprising, not done any servicing on it. Okay, so let's copy. Let's copy Emutos over from, so this is a bootable version of Emutos. We'll copy this over from our external Gotek, and we'll see if we can boot off it. Just a reminder, I've done no cleaning at all yet on any of this. I've still got the gloves on. This drive is almost certainly filthy, so the fact that it works, you know, even partially, is really quite impressive. The keyboard does look as if there's been something dripped on it. There's various different brown splodges. So I don't know whether somebody's snorted their coffee at some point in the past or what's gone on. Right, let's put that in an auto folder. That worked. And this is from the physical floppy, and we'll move that into there. And go through a boot process. Emutos 1.1, there we go, 1.1.1. Not the latest, I think we're up to 1.2.1 at the moment. Splendid. Splitter is installed and enabled, and we're showing 3.5 megabyte free. Makes sense, it's a 4 megabyte machine, and we're running a software operating system. Excellent. I think we'll go back to the diagnostics.
PCBWay. Not only do they sponsor this channel, but they also make quite excellent PCBs. Unpopulated and fully built options are available. They offer CNC machining, 3D printing, sheet metal fabrication, and injection moulding too. If there's anything you're building, why not have a look at PCBWay.com, linked in down below. Whilst you're there, have a quick look at the shared projects section. You'll find quite a few of my builds there available to either download or order completely assembled. So thanks to PCBWay, and on with the video.
Okay, so booting back into the diagnostics, what I really want to do is to have a look at the keyboard test here. So this is certainly responding better than it did earlier on. Maybe just a little bit of use is enough to wake it up. Well, we know the mouse is working. Slash on the keypad. A little bit hit and miss on the brackets. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so I think because these are actual switches rather than rubber domes, they can be exercised into working a bit. W's a little bit sticky there. I'll spray a bit of contact cleaner under there. Don't think it can hurt. Maybe I should just go along all of this. Bit of contact cleaner. Don't want to go too mad. And a little bit of contact cleaner and a little bit of mechanical. All space is loose. Ooh. I think the space has had some physical trauma. Okay, so we'll have to investigate how to take that off and have a look into that. But yeah, everything's working. Excellent. So here we go. We're in the bathroom. It's time for a bit of scrub-a-dub-dub. Just going to use some washing up liquid to start with, and I'll get the shower going and we'll get the scrubbing brush on it. Okay, with the case drying off, it's time to turn our attention to this keyboard. I think the first thing we'll do is we will take it apart so I can clean the case. That's my small ear mouse 2 little dongle that's available on my GitHub, and we'll look at cleaning the case whilst we give the keys a good old soak. And we need to also sort out that space bar, which is definitely not behaving the way it ought. Okay, the case looks relatively good on the inside. I've never seen in one of these before. Well, there's a bit of a smell of tobacco or something, or perhaps a popped component. Yeah, actually that smells like a burned component, so I don't know what that is, because we've seen the keyboard works pretty well, but it's definitely got that magic smoke smell. Nothing looks brown. Well, that little adapter board looks in quite good condition. It was incredibly stiff getting the plug off. 23rd week, 1990, I think that says. And we'll give that a bit of a scrub with the old IPA, but I think that's in pretty good condition. And here's the inside of the keyboard case. Aside from a little bit of dust, that's in fairly good nick as well. Implies that whatever crud we saw stuck on the keyboard probably did just fall in between the keys. And it doesn't look like there's anything fundamentally wrong with this. We can just give this the same treatment that we did the main case. Okay, and now the delicate parts. Let's use the old keycap puller and see whether we can get these off without causing any damage. I've never done this on a Switch keyboard before. So, there we go. Very, very easy. Okay, it's a simple plus shaped plunger arrangement. And the switch there is very difficult to see black and black, but yeah, that switch there is again just a simple plus on the top. So apart from the space bar, which is misbehaving, this should just be a simple but long process. Right, now I'm just left with the larger keys and the functions. I was a bit gung-ho with the return. Okay, that one. So the undo and the help doesn't have a bar, but I'm concerned that these large ones do. Yeah, look, there's a bar. I don't know if you can see that hidden away under there. Pretty sure there's a bar under there. We know there is with the enter key. Okay, so you can see there, I'm pretty sure that the bar is attached to the key and it's clipped. In fact, I might have lost one of the ends there because it's twisting a bit, but it's then clipped into the board. So I think we might need a little tiny screwdriver just to pick that out. Okay, so I'm going with this little tiny screwdriver here. I'm going to see whether I can escort the bar out at all. There we go. There we go, and that's how the bar is attached. So interestingly, that goes into a slot. So it's not held rigid, which presumably is to allow us to attach and detach it. No, I don't know for cleaning purposes whether I should remove the bar. Perhaps if it comes out easily, I will. If it gives any resistance, then maybe I won't. There we go. Okay, I'm going to take that out because I don't want that to be corroded. Okay. I was just investigating there, and the space bar lifted off. So, right, that's why it's disconnected. The space bar has one of those capture points at this end, and it's missing at this end. So that is presumably why it was loose, because there's nothing retaining it on one side. I'm not sure what we can do about that. I'll have to have a think. Perhaps maybe we can 3D print something? I'm not sure. I think with the function keys I may just have to do it by hand. Try and keep it as flat as possible. Getting the key cap puller around them is awkward. So there we go. What an unholy mess. There is a lot of muck and dust, but to be honest, it's not the worst, is it? The electronics up here look completely fine. Don't see any leaking capacitors or any evidence of liquid spill. Look how nice and shiny that board looks. I'm not sure where that whiff of burnt components came from. No, maybe a little bit of evidence of rework there, I'm not sure. But the circuit board looks in good condition. I'm not sure I'm going to take that apart. I think what I might do is to just give this a good clean with IPA, let it all dry out, rub it down a little bit, and see if that's sufficient. I'm going to soak these in a detergent, but this doesn't really fit here, so I'm going to call in the big guns. Now, I don't remember where I read this. I think it was on Twitter somewhere, and so I apologise for not remembering who told me. But I was given a tip that by putting denture cleaning tablets in some warm water here and allowing these to soak is a very good way of cleaning keys. So I've bought this cheap denture cleaning tablets from Sainsbury's. It warns me on here that these are these corrosive, cause eye irritation, keep away from metal. Good thing we took those bars off. But it says directions for use. Place in a glass with warm water and soak for 3 minutes. Heavier stains may require a longer soak. Well, I don't think I'm going to go for 3 minutes. I think these probably do need a bit longer than that. But what I think I'll do is I'll pop the whole thing here in a bowl, just in case there's some effervescence. I really don't know what to expect here. I don't want it to overflow and make a terrible, terrible mess. Now this says one tablet is suitable for one pair of dentures. So I'm thinking maybe, what, 3 tablets for this? Let's see how we go. Now I'm quite keen not to get my wet fingers on this, so I'm going to see if I can tip out. Maybe we'll start with 2 tablets into this pot, and we will tip them in and see what happens. Here we go. A little bit of fizzing, but it's probably not soaking to the bottom because of all of the keys filling up. So what I'm going to do is use this the back end of this wooden spoon just to give it a light stir. Try and get our tablet all the way down. There we go. I can see the tablet's actually chuntering away at the bottom now. I don't know if my keyboard will now be minty fresh. We could have a combination of citrus flavours and mint. Yummy. Okay, so that's been in for an hour. I did put a 3rd tablet in about half an hour in the end. There's obviously a bit of discoloration on here, which I think is probably maybe more to do with UV exposure. But otherwise, I think they've come out pretty well. I can't remember which particular key was the worst one, but we'll have a look at them when they're all dried off. I'm just rinsing them here with water, by the way. That's what I'm showing you. We'll have a look at them when they're all dried off and put them back on the base board, and we'll see how they go. I'll be honest, I'm quite impressed with that. I think the old denture cleaning tablets might be the go. Okay, so whilst the keyboard's all cleaning up, I've had the drive out, and we've got a bit of IPA on the cotton bud here. I'm just going to lightly clean those heads. Can't see any dirt coming off at all. I'm not going to do anything more there than that. I might just have a wipe down to the front, but that's just purely cosmetics. Get a bit more, see a bit more dust coming off the front where it's been hanging out the computer. The track stepper motor here, you can see the spindle running down there. The drive sounded pretty crap, so I'm going to put a bit of this silicone lubricant on there. Just spray it, just a tiny blob up there where the main rotor is, and we'll rub that down the side, and so hopefully when that seeks, that will spread that around properly, and hopefully we'll feel a little bit better. Don't want to rub all the grease off, that is ultimately lubricant. Okay, it seemed easier to actually fit it to the key, fit the bar to the key first, so that's probably the approach I'll take. Okay, I had to stand the key, unfortunately you're on the wrong side, but I have to stand the key up on the end and then steer it in. Okay, and then in it goes. So for the spacebar, with the missing end, I'm not really sure there's much I can do. Problem is that whilst that end will hook into place, well, there's nothing at all holding this end. There's meant to be another clip there. So without that, I'm not sure there's any point me clipping it in here at all. I can try. Well, let's put the bar in first. So by my reckoning, it must be that way, right? Yeah, that's not how it's meant to be, is it? And I'll pop a couple of Lidl's finest, clearly dodgy batteries into the real-time clock compartment. These ones are so iffy that they don't even have a capacity on them. That's very tight. There we go, we can test that in a minute. And so here we go, here's how it has scrubbed up. Obviously I'm still figuring out what to do about that space bar. I might need to do some paperclip origami. The top has, unfortunately, there's still a little bit of marks on here, despite the scrubbing and the various chemical treatments I've tried on that. That I think will need sort of a magic eraser or something like that, or something maybe a little bit abrasive. But I think that looks really very nice. The denture cleaning tablets really did a number on those keys. That they look pretty great, I think, all round. So let's just test the real-time clock. So I haven't set it yet. Here we go. We think we're in 1981, and it is in American date format, the 15th of April. So let's have a go at setting this. So what can we do? We've got the 15th of April 81. It's actually, at time of recording, it is the 6th of July 2024. Will it take that? No, I think that's just a bug in the control panel. Okay, so I've rebooted straight into plain TOS 1.04. So let's try again on this control panel. It's a bit buggy with the with Mint, I think. So it's just coming up to 12:30, so we'll call it 12:28. It is the 6th of the 7th, 24. Don't know how it's going to cope with the 24-hour clock. We'll close that down and check how that looks in the clock. There we go, 7th of the 6th, American format, 2024, and we're coming up to 12:30. Let's power down, and we'll see if it survives. Okay, well that's been a fair amount of time now. Let's throw the switch, and we will see whether we've retained our time setting. It is the 6th of the 7th, 2024, and the time is, yep, just gone 1:45. Perfect. And in case you were wondering, after the keyboard maintenance, yep, everything is actually working really nicely now, with obviously the exception of that spacebar, which I mean does work if I press the plunger, but the clip needs to do something about that clip. If anyone's got any ideas where I could source one of those little guide inserts, I mean, I think that's probably too small for me to 3D print unless I've got a really tiny tip on the end. So I may have to indulge in a bit of paper clip origami, but I'm not convinced that will even work. But otherwise, the keyboard looks brilliant and is in excellent working order. Just that spacebar. Okay, so this is my temporary, well, maybe not so temporary if I can't think of a solution, workaround. I've crafted this from a bit of an old paper clip. I've just put a little tiny bit of blue tack, it's actually white, but blue tack down in the space key there. You can see that the orientation that these run in, the slot extends forward, so we just press that into there like that. It's not super tight, but should just hold it in place. And we'll try and slot it in. I think it goes that way around. We'll try and slot it into the bar here. So I've got the bar pulled forwards. This is the original one at this end. We'll just slot that in there, and I'll try and guide. Not sure. I don't think I'm going to be able to get that on the camera. Try and guide the bar into my. Oops. Might have bend my bar a little bit into my little tab. I mean. Oh, no, it's quite tight. I could try the other way around. I could try going in to my end first. And then can I guide this one in? Ah, yes, there we go. Okay, that was easier. And that seems to have worked relatively well. And then we'll try and tip it up, and we'll try and slot the that's not bad. Oh, it's a little bit. Yeah, I think it's pulled out. It's not bad, but I think I might need to secure it a bit more tightly in there. Actually, it's not my insert that's pulled out, it's actually the bar from the clip underneath. I hope that clip's not broken as well. There we go, try and pop that in. Ah, now it's pulled out. Okay, I took that out and I applied quite a bit more blue tack. That's not too bad. Don't know how long it'll last, but I'm quite pleased with that. Well, there we go. I've tested pretty much everything I can on this. Haven't tested the sound, haven't tested that exciting sound accelerator card, and we've got a hard disk in here. We've got the real-time clock tested with the floppy drive works, got the external floppy working. The keyboard, I think, has come up an absolute treat. Now, I have not actually braved the mouse. I think that requires rather more surgery, quite a bit of soaking and some good proper scrubbing. But to be brutally honest, modern mice are better. So I'm not too concerned about that. I would like to do some more work on this. I would like to get some extra memory installed. It's 4 megabytes already. Obviously DSTB1, I'm still looking into problems with the memory on that. This would be an obvious candidate for that. But that mega expansion bus is interesting, and maybe I'll do something for that will allow me to put expansions on easily. But this is an absolute delight. Obviously, I was interested in the Mega ST because of its expandability, the fact that it has that expansion card, the fact that there is room in here to work. Oh, I should also say the PSU. I haven't done anything with PSU. I'm using my external one for the moment. But I might actually just fit the external port again to this one. But I'm interested in this for the purposes of expansion. It's very generous of Frank, the guy who offered this, to give away all of this older Atari stuff that his friend Francis had left behind. And hopefully he'll agree that it's gone to a good home and it will get a lot of use. I can promise you that. Thank you very much for watching. See you in the next one.